Folks, I must say, Tucker Carlson is probably one of the best journalists we have right now out there speaking the truth, or at least the most influential, because he's got anywhere from 10 million followers to 300 million people listening to certain broadcasts. I'm talking about him interviewing people like Trump, going to be interviewing people like Putin. He's interviewed people that have spilled the beans, whistleblowers that have spilled the beans on Obama's homosexual and crack tendencies. He has had whistleblowers from left and right. Tucker Carlson has had some really, really great interviews, including the one with the J6 Capitol Police chief. They basically told off on Nancy Pelosi and the whole crew, including Mitch McConnell. They did their best to do as little as they had to on J6. As little as they had to prevent the problem. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and get into this video, folks. 4 or 5 minute long video. I may stop it a couple times in the middle and just comment because there's a couple things in here I want to point out. But truth be known, this video is straight fire. I am not gonna BS you even a little bit, folks. Stick around to the end. Tucker Carlson has a great stand-up monologue that is just like nobody else can do it.
Have a system that nobody actually supports except the people directly benefiting from it. This is the main thing I've learned in the past 5 years that I'm 54, I've lived in this country my whole life, and because I, unlike everyone else in Washington, actually kind of believed in the basic premise of democracy, which is the majority rules. That's the most basic fact of democracy. The people run their own government. If you get a majority of people to vote for something, that's now the law. And that's totally untrue. You can put it in a ballot referendum, some judge will overturn it. Well, what about democracy? You could spend billions of dollars on a foreign policy theory that nobody actually supports. Doesn't matter. In the end, most governments are run by a small group of people for their own benefit without reference to what the majority wants. And I hate to believe that that's true in this country, but all the evidence suggests that it is. In fact, it's provable. You know how you prove it? Public opinion polling. Take a look at the latest Gallup poll. Pick a poll. What are the top 10 issues for people in the United States? And then compare those to the priorities of your leaders. So people are leaving Michigan because it's very hard to make a living here, and you're constantly hassled by a government that never stops growing and that is leeching off an economy that hasn't grown in decades, okay? That's the truth. Take a look at the priorities of the low IQ lunatic who's running your state, Gretchen Whitmer, who deserves zero respect, no respect. Her priorities are what? Putting you in jail if you, quote, misgender somebody? What percentage of the population of the state of Michigan, even southeastern Michigan, is on board with that as a top concern? It's like roughly around 0.1%, okay, in that range. The things that people care about, Gretchen Whitmer couldn't care less about. Because democracy isn't functioning. If democracy was functioning in America, in Michigan, in California, the District of Columbia where I live, the state of Maine, the state of Texas, how many Texans do you think are all on board with letting 7 million people cross into their state illegally? What percentage? Zero. Zero. I don't care what your race or national origin, nobody is for that. That's insane. Has the governor of Texas done anything meaningful to stop that? No. The Republican governor? He's got a National Guard. He's the commander-in-chief of the National Guard, and it's Texas, so they're all large. And they have double-stack magazines in their sidearms. You think they couldn't stop that in a week if they, of course, just assemble along the border. We're not doing this. No, he refuses to do that. He won't do it. And it's not like no one suggested. I've suggested to him 3 times, including in private at a cocktail party in Dallas last year. What are you doing, man? Don't you have a National Guard? Why don't you seal the border? Oh, it's very complicated. No, it's not. No, it's not. If someone's trying to break into my house, it's not complicated to repel the person. Do you have a firearm or don't you? Are you willing to defend your house and your children or aren't you?
You know, Tucker Carlson's right, and he's actually an honest journalist, and that's what makes him ask the right questions, the hard questions, the questions that most politicians will duck and dodge every chance they get. Now, I do like some of the things that Governor Abbott has done. He's been a at least decent governor as far as a lot of the up north governors, like Gretchen Whitmore, for example, like he was discussing. But truth be known, Governor Abbott does a lot of grandstanding. He goes down to the border and talks a good game and has a meeting with all the chiefs of the Border Patrol and has a big television appearance. And I don't see much getting done. I live in Texas, if you don't know, and I see that Texas is literally being saturated over the last year with more and more Hispanic people. That I'm assuming a lot of them are migrating this direction from the border, and there's no stopping it at this point until Trump gets back in there. That's an obvious point. But truth be known, Abbott, I will vote for him because we don't have a better choice, and I don't want a Democrat running our state. But truth be known, definitely he could do better. He could do more. He could fight harder. Him and some of the officials here in Texas could not just sue Joe Biden, but could actually throw crimes at the Biden crime family for anything that they ever done in the state of Texas. That's the type of thing that need to be done. This lawfare, warfare thing that's going on against Trump and the conservatives, and that is only ramping up more and more, needs to be squashed. And the only way to squash it is to fight fire with fire. If you start indicting people like Nancy Pelosi and Mayorkas, and just go down the list of all the cretins that have done not only their constituents but this entire country wrong in a criminal fashion, put their ass in jail, put their ass up on the chopping block, impeachment, indictment, conviction. I would love to see it with even just one of them. And it may put the fear of God into at least some of the rest of them, because we definitely need change at this point. But let's go ahead and get back into the video, folks. I thought this was definitely an outstanding monologue from Tucker Carlson, or speech, should I say. But it was a little longer than this, but I cut it short just to keep the video tidy. But it is definitely out there on the internet if you want to find it. Easy to do. Just type in Tucker Carlson scorches Governor Abbott or something to that effect, and you will definitely be able to find it, because he definitely scorched his ass up. No doubt about it, folks. He's calling him out like a real journalist will do. None of that CNN bullshit. The real deal. Tucker Carlson.
Well, it's more complicated. That really, tell me how. Speak slowly so I can understand. It's not more complicated than that. It's more dishonest than that. You're lying to me. You don't want to do it because your donors don't want you to do it. It's that simple. Greg Abbott. Liar. Liar. And worse than liar, betrayer of your own people. That's what that is. I was polite at the cocktail party, so I didn't say any of that, but I fumed internally like an Episcopalian. I thought those things. But the point is, if you assume that just because everybody wants something, you're going to get it, think again, pal. It's very likely that, in fact, you won't get anything that you want. You will just pay for what a small group of other people want. That's the way it works. Boo! Boo is right. Boo is right. It's not just frustrating, it's a betrayal of the core promise of the country, which is the people rule. That's a criminal act. That is a criminal act. Let's just put this in context. It's not just like you have boutique, weird right-wing views and that's how they want you to feel. Like, oh, you're an extremist. Really? I'm an extremist? I'm the one who let 7 million people into our country illegally, whose names we don't know?
Oh, that was an awesome video, folks. Like, subscribe, and share if you haven't already, folks. And give me a comment down in the comment section. Anybody that stuck around this long, I appreciate you sticking around to the end. That actually helps the algorithm and helps the video be shared elsewhere. Thanks for listening. Over and out.